It's been a month since the last inked up video, and as much as it might not look like it, I have run some things dry this month. So let's take a look at what's inked up currently as we try and run all these pens dry before the Chicago Pen Show. So normally I would sort all these pens. We're not doing that today. We're just grabbing whatever's on top. This is my Visconti Mirage and Emerald, which is currently inked up with Tasha Sabi Midori. I never know how to spell this ink's name, but this is the Visconti. Medium nib. I thought I was going to get this nib turned into a mini stub. I'm sort of in love with it now, so I think it might stay as a medium. And how do you spell Sabi Midori? It is... There we go. Such a fun ink color. One of my favorites. And then we have another one of my favorites, which I don't know if you can see, I've used this pen a lot this month. There's significantly less ink in it because this is my Benu Goldspot Hot Toddy, which I eyedroppered. And I love it. Fine nib, and it has Ferris Wheel Press russet typecase in it. This ink always feels very fall to me, but I have been enjoying it as we head into spring. We have a Pelikan twist. This pen has been going strong for months. Every time I think I've run it dry, I haven't. We are nearing the end of it being inked up though. It is almost dry. It's been inked since August. I have to say it seals very well. Most pens would not last this long, but it is going strong. It's definitely on my list of pens for beginners simply because you can leave it capped and forget about it for so long and it still writes. So this is the Pelikan twist. You can see it's starting to run out of ink. And girly pink with I believe it's Pelikan blue in it. Super fun pen. I love it. It's very pink. It's very sparkly. Or shiny, I guess. It's not sparkly. We have a new pen. This was one of my 5,000 subscriber pens. It is an Opus 88 in Freezy from Gourmet Pens that I bought secondhand. Broad nib. Oh, I forgot to open the back, didn't I? I will say I keep forgetting to open the back on this pen. That's a me thing though. It is just a bit of a learning curve with pond. I love this ink. Let's close it up. Super cute pen. I think it might be one of my favorite, like, smaller sized pens right now. But I do have a lot of them inked, so we'll have to see. I'm really a fan of how it handles shimmer, though. We have an Esterbrook SD Cobalt re-release with a mini stub. I think this is almost empty. And it's inked with Private Reserve Midnight Blue. It's a super fun ink. I like the Private Reserve inks. They do bleed some of them. They're fast drying inks on the other hand. I adore. I haven't had huge bleeding issues. There's a little bit of ghosting on this paper, but really nothing too bad. It is almost empty though. We have my Heinz Penco pen inked with Robert Oster, Romeo and Juliet. This is a Heinz. Apparently I can't spell. This looks like the wrong ink. This should be Romeo and Juliet. I'm so confused. This is a Winter Sunset prototype. This isn't actually Winter Sunset. With Robert Oster, Romeo and Juliet. But we're gonna... The reason I'm confused is because if we flip back a month, this was the ink last month, and this is the ink now. So we're gonna put that pen aside. Actually, is there something weird going on inside the pen? Or is it just like, well, like it doesn't look weird in there? Weird. Has anyone else had that happen with a Robert Oster ink? Like I've used the pen this month, but I haven't used the pen a lot this month. It hasn't been exposed to crazy heat. That's crazy. I have questions. All right. We'll move on. We'll reclip this notebook. We have my Monteverde MP1 with Yamabudo. This has been a favorite this month. I'm not normally an extra fine person, but there's just something about this pen. Black with a extra fine. Oh, the Heinz is a broad. Is it? Heinz might be a medium, actually. Let's look at the nib real fast. It's a medium, actually. You know, no space. I love this ink. I think I've convinced myself that I need a bottle of it because I have really loved it in this pen, and I've used, say, probably a fifth of the fill this month. And with how many pens I have in rotation, that does mean this pen's getting reached for a lot. So it is on my buy list for ink bottles. We'll see if that actually happens. I think this will be the next pen to run dry. You can see how little ink is left in that ink window. It is almost there. This is a Leonardo Belladinote. X. Fine Flex. Montblanc Pop Pink. I think this will be empty by the middle of this week, but it's almost there. Next up, we have the next Leonardo, which I don't know that I actually know what ink's in this. Oh no, I do. It is Colorverse Moonlit Veil. I never know the name of this pen, so we're just going to call it Leonardo. It's a luxury brand, Korea. This one's almost empty too. That's limited pen screen. We're going to call this empty. I think. I think that pen's almost empty. Interesting that I've run both of my Leonardos almost empty this month. Let's go with this one. This is another Monteverde. This is the Monteverde and Nova with a medium. Yes, medium. Okay, this Robert Oster ink also looks weird. So, last month, that was the ink. This month, this is the ink. What's going on? Okay, I've got one more pen inked up with Robert Oster, and it's this Esterbrook Jr. Capri. This is a different version of Polar Vortex. This is an older bottle of Polar Vortex that I actually prefer the color of. It's medium nib. Okay. Even that looks like a different color. Not, yeah. I'm so confused. Because, like, this is the same notebook I used last month. This is the same paper I used last month. I've been using these pens this month. They haven't been exposed to a bunch of heat, which can sometimes degrade dyes and pigments. And it's just, so far, it's just the Robert Oster colors. That's so weird. All right, let's keep going. This is the Navel Glacier. I haven't actually been picking up this pen this month very much. I have too many blue pens inked up right now, or pens with various shades of blue ink inked up right now. It is still one of my favorite pens in my collection, though. I love the color of it. I love the gradient of color, so I will continue to use it. This is the Navel Horizon. Glacier Broad. With Montblanc. Midnight Blue. It's a fantastic blue. I actually thought it was going to be one of the first bottles of ink I finish, but I think there's something else that might beat it there. This is my Kaweco Sport Mellow Blue Medium Nib. This pen has now been inked for like 18 months straight. It's one of my daily drivers. FWP Dusk. This is also my favorite muted blue ink, and I own a bunch of it because they just discontinued it. I don't even know that we're halfway through pens yet. It's depressing. Or we might be. I think we're also going to run this dry this month. We don't have very much left in this Pelikan Rose Quartz with a mini stub-ish nib on it. I'm just going to call it a mini stub. It's basically a mini stub. It's FWP. Pink eraser. Why is that feathering? Maybe it's this paper. Because it didn't... I don't know. I just smudged it all over my hand. That's lovely. I feel like I don't want to restart because we're already pretty deep into this. But I have some concerns. It's either the paper, it's the ink. So I guess when we're done, I will grab a scrap of something else and try a couple of these pens on it. Like with pink eraser, it could just be because we're getting to the very end. I've had it feather before at the very end, but I don't know. Like these color differences are pretty major. This is a new pen as well. It was part of the 5,000 subscriber video. It is Ferris Wheel Press Sugar and Spite in an Esterbrook Punch. With a medium nib. For a long time, I thought the name of this ink was Sugar and Spice, and it's Sugar and Spite, which I love even more than Sugar and Spice, but I did think it was the wrong name for a very long time. What's next? Let's go here. This is my other Naveler Horizon pen. This is the Desert. Also with a medium nib. With FWP. With Age of Aurum in it. I do want to switch this ink at some point. Maybe to Diamond Sand Between Your Toes. Potentially with some Wear and Gold glitter potion in it to make it a little bit sparkly. We'll have to see. Now that we're heading into summer and spring, I feel like I need a less wintry ink in this pen, but I want to run it dry first. So that is this week's plan. We have the Esterbrook SD Twinkle. I adore this pen. It's so cute. It's very Cinderella-y. It very much fits my color palette and vibe of pastel-y and sparkly. And it has a fine nib that Mom has tuned and tweaked a little bit. I found it with the way I write just like a bit too square, and so she's used micro mesh just around one of the corners a little bit, and that seems to be working much better for my hand. So this is the Esterbrook. JR Twinkle. With a fine don't want to call it an oblique. We're just going to call it a fine angled nib. What color does this have in it? I don't actually know. I'm going to have to go look at the video. I'll be back in a moment. Colorverse White Hole. It's a very pretty color. It's from the Advent calendar this year. It's super pretty. I love it. And I think it's a very good ink pairing for this pen. It's very Cinderella-y blue. And that's what I wanted. We have another new pen. This one actually might have been in my last video. I'm not sure when it arrived on my desk. I don't think it was actually. It might have been inked up, but not in the video. This is the FWP Jewel Blue Revelry. It came with a medium nib. They come with mediums or fines. I had a broad from the Kickstarter, and so I switched it with a broad. It is very nice though. I will say I found in their early pens, I found the engravings to almost be like sharp on your fingers. That is no longer a problem. It is very smooth. It's very inset, but not in a way that's sharp. The edges are all nicely rounded, and I really like it. It has FWP Blue Revelry ink in it. I will say they sent the pen in exchange for a single post. It was part of the Jubilee program. I have done all my content that I needed to do on it, and now I just get to enjoy it. And I am enjoying it. It's got a nice weight to it. I'm finding these days that I am enjoying metal pens, which is not something I used to enjoy, and I'm very happy about that. We have my Sailor Fountain Pen Hospital Blue Moon, which is lovely. It's got a medium hard nib. This is another one of those pens that I just love this month. Moon. The ink is FWP. Apparently I can't write Fs anymore. Harlequin Dreams, I believe. There we go. So really the only colors that have changed color are the Robert Oster inks. I'm gonna send a text to a couple friends and see if they've had issues with their Robert Oster inks. I don't own that many. I only own 3 bottles from them. I have a couple samples from friends. And so I don't really know. I feel like this pen's almost empty. And I will figure out what's in it when I write with it. Is it empty? Have I run it dry, or is there just an air bubble? I have run it dry. Glorious. Look at that. Glorious. All right, so that is 2 Estes, a Benu, a Parker that have all been run dry. I feel like there's a couple other things. But the run it dry pile has grown. This is a Monteverde Dakota. I don't think I've run you dry. I think you're just like dry because I haven't touched you for a couple days. That's the thing with my pen collection. Like, I've got so many things inked up currently that like sometimes things go a couple days without getting any attention. Right. I think you're writing now. I do like this pen though. It's a good like throw in the purse pen. All right, now we're writing. Monteverde Dakota Raw Flame. It's got Sailor Ink Studio 641 in it, and if anyone can teach me how the Sailor Ink Studio numbering works, I will be forever grateful. I don't understand it at all. It just goes over my head. The Watcher Pacino got inked up again because it is so cute. I think it's peony pink. It's got Diamine Earl Grey. Simply because I don't ever want to clean it, and so it just keeps getting the same ink over and over and over again. We have a Parker 21 in red. I think this has a medium nib. Oh, it's a very crusty nib. So much nib crust. This is why I don't like red inks. Yeah. Still got ink in you, but you're so... Normally the ink that goes in this pen is Madame Mulberry from Ferris Wheel Press. But I think this is going to need a total clean. Well, maybe not. 21. burgundy red. So join the pile up there for now. Then we have this lovely thing, which is another Kaweco Sport with a Ferris Wheel Press grape ice pop in it. Are you empty? This is the joy of inked up videos when you're trying to run pens empty, is that, look at that! We've run another one empty. All right, next Kaweco Sport. I guess I'm going to open this first and see if there's ink in it. Yep, there's ink. So let's double broad, FWP. Plated gold tresses. We are down to the final 6 pens. Will I have space? Who knows? This is the Pelikan M200 Golden Barrel. The medium nib. I also don't understand the difference between the M205 and the M200. Originally I thought the difference was like the color of barrel, but my pink clear one is a 205 and this one's a 200, and they're both pretty demonstratory, so I just don't understand the difference. This is FWP Royal Rhubarb. 5 pens. I think we'll have space. This is a Kaweco custom Urushi pen from Beijing. The video on this pen is coming shortly, and I absolutely adore it. She tends to only sell them at events, though occasionally does have them for sale up on our Instagram. And I have a cursive italic smooth double broad nib that Matthew Chen ground for me in this pen. This has Sailor Mano Haha in it. I love this ink and pen combination. It's super fun. It's a super cute pen. I have wanted one of her pens for a very long time, and with a whole bunch of things, I was able to get one at Scriptus this year, and it was super cool. We have the one pen that I said I was going to ink up if it ran dry, because this is a constant for me in the studio, and waterproof pens are a pain to clean. So this is my black Hongdian Forest pen. The Sailor. This is the only pen I keep inked up with waterproof ink, and it is a pen that constantly has ink in it because I never want it to run dry. I probably re-ink this 1 to 2 times a month. I've already re-inked this once this month, and it's already dry almost, so I'll be re-inking it again. We have my Montblanc Jane Austen, or my Montblanc pen inked with Jane Austen. It's actually 146. I love this ink. I love this pen. It's a great combo. And I'm really grateful to own the pen and own the ink. It's super fun. It's also a pen that won't run dry because it's an absolute pain to clean. So I just plan to keep it inked. I will admit that the entire internals of this pen are different than the last time you saw it. I hated this pen with the medium nib. It just wasn't working. From the very beginning, I knew that when I got this pen, I wanted the broad nib for it. That's what I had fallen in love with, and then I couldn't find it to order it from anywhere. And so I'd settled on ordering it with the medium nib, and someday I'd find the broad. And then it just so happened that somebody in the Canadian fountain pen group was selling their broad because they hated the broad and had decided to go with extra fine instead. And they were just selling the internals of the pen. And so I got a broad, which is now living its life in this pen. But when I did that, I also went, oh, I guess I'm going to switch like the ink and everything as well. I had already run the ink basically dry. My other pitfall in life is putting this pen back together. I'm not particularly good at it. I'd already run Wear and Gall 12 Night, which was in this pen, pretty much dry as much as I hated it, because a Con 40 does not hold that much ink. And I decided that, you know, I wasn't going to wait. So I inked this pen up, and then I really didn't like the ink that was in it. So I added a little bit of royal rhubarb to it, and now I quite like it. So this is a Pilot Decimo. Rod nib with FWP, Ferris Wheel Press. I would say it's mostly Little Robina and very little royal rhubarb, but it's such a pretty purple. And I'm really loving the pen with the broad nib. It is a much better fit for my hand and how I write. And even though it's the gold one, which doesn't normally come on this pen, I'm really happy with it because it is the pen I like. And I will be getting the medium ground into something at some point. Which brings us to our final pen. You will have only seen this pen if you watched last week's Desk Chatter. This is a custom pen from Rob Sanchez, who created the whole thing for me. He had sent me a message, I think even before he did 20 questions, because he had heard that I didn't have very many hand-turned pens because I struggled to get lids off without clips. And the issue with that is sometimes, depending on how a clip is reinforced, if you use a clip to help you get a lid off, you can eventually shatter the cap. And Rob is an engineer and thought he could fix this problem. And he has, because I can undo this pen one-handed, and I am absolutely in love. There will be a video coming on this pen. Inside lights do not do justice to how sparkly this pen is. It's got a little octopus on top named Ophelia. But I felt like this custom pen needed a custom ink to match. And so I've done that. So this is a Rob's Pen Works custom with a fine nib, and you will find out why it has a fine in a couple months once Chicago's happened. And this is a Sailor Mania or Sailor mix of what was it? All right. So mostly this, which is one of my favorite purple inks, and then about 5% Sailor Blue Black that I just mixed up in a sample file, and it is such a pretty ink for that pen. It doesn't shade as much on this paper as it does on some papers, but I think it is the perfect match. So there's the current state of what's inked up. I will say I'm doing a better job this month at rotating what I have in my slip and zip and what's attached to my traveler's journal so that everything is getting rotated through, which in turn is why we've seen so many pens be run dry this month. I am going to have to figure out what's going on with those Robert Oster inks. I'm suspicious of them right now, but I'm going to reach out to a couple friends and see if they've had issues. And if you've had issues with them, let me know in the comments, or if you've got any ideas, let me know. For now, though, which pen this month is your favorite? Which ink this month is your favorite? Are there any that surprise you? I'm always shocked whenever I open the Pelikan twist and it writes, because I really don't reach for it all that often, and it just seals incredibly well for such an inexpensive pen. I'm also sort of in love with this month's custom ink blends. I don't create custom mixes often, but I do have a soft spot for them. And I think, also let me know which pens you think aren't going to appear next month. I think the Bella de Notte, the Pelikan twist, Ferris Wheel Press pink eraser, the 3 with Robert Oster may or may not. Depends on if I decide to clean them out or not, based on what friends advise. I think I might run the raw flame dry this month. There's not much left in it, but we'll see. It is fun to see that I did run some things dry, even though I did add many, many pens this month.